Look, this is a low-budget show, so any of the bad makeup and stuff, just let it happen. All right. Our first guest, before we bring him on, I need you to understand some context, okay? Our first guest comes from a Christmas Carol set in 1843. Now, to know a little bit about 1843, indoor plumbing had not been invented yet. All right? So instead of normal toilets like you and us know, instead they just had a hole that they would just go into, known as the cesspool, and then when that filled up, they hired someone to scoop it out. Also, toilet paper was not invented for another 20 years. What did they use instead in 1843? Well, I will tell you. Newspaper or corn cobs. Our next person is known for selling corn. Please give it up for Ebenezer Scrooge. He stinks.
Let it be known that the ghost of Christmas present is a drunk. And while I might not have running water toilets, at least I don't piss myself at night. I've been drinking too much. Yes, I am Ebenezer Scrooge, legendary businessman, voted London's sexiest man in a smock. But I did not want to be here, but the ghost of Christmas present kept showing up in my bedroom every night. I don't know why we allow a man like that to go about in public. By the way, have you seen my children? Ignorance and want. Yes, for the 13th time, ghost, we have seen the children. We are ignoring them, and we want you to go away. But here I am. Don't get the wrong idea. I still don't like Christmas, all right? That was one night of ghost-induced mania. So don't come up to me after the show asking for money like Tiny Tim. Speaking of Tiny Tim, Harry Potter's here. By the way, Harry, what is your connection with Christmas? Just that you like Christmas? So you have one near-death experience and suddenly you think you're the poster boy for everything. I don't think so. I've been hearing what Harry has been getting up to at school. You see, my cousin is a caretaker there, August Filch. He tells me about all the nonsense that he gets up to with his friends. Death Eaters. He won't shut up about Death Eaters. I met a Death Eater once. He threw me down into a grave. I was giving away free turkeys the next day. Who cares about Death Eaters? Harry, what you should do is listen to your potions professor and stay out of trouble. Hans, you would like him. Let's see, who else is, Cindy Lou, what was it?
Who?
Yes, you.
Cindy Lou? Who?
Yes, I'm asking you, what is your name?
Cindy Lou who?
No. I hate children. Listen. I don't care. Moving on. Hans, of course, yes, as I mentioned. The only one here truly worthy of respect. You see, he took a great fall, like myself, and he stuck to his guns. He didn't go, oh, I'm so sorry, I tried to rob $640 million. No, he stayed evil till the end, all right. Sorry to hear about that, by the way, but glad to have you here. Also, George Bailey, look, everyone knows you're just the reverse Scrooge. Your story isn't even as good as mine. You learned that your brother died and that still you weren't like, I don't know, I think I still want to die. And then you saw your wife wasn't hot anymore and you're like, that's it, I'm coming back. That brings me to the Grinch. Listen, you. I was the OG. The original Grump. I was the first grumpy man around Christmas time, all right? You came afterwards and tried to steal my thunder, all right? But it's not the same. What's your story? Just that you tried to steal everything and they didn't feel bad, so you changed? Come on! I went through hell! I went to hell and came back and had to give my stuff away. You just felt bad that they didn't feel bad. That's not an arc. I'm sorry, Grinch, but the only thing that you and I have in common is Jim Carrey. Good night.
Very good, very funny. Our next guest, from the story of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the worst facial recognition person ever. All right? Cindy Lou Who invited the Grinch to a Christmas party, spent a lot of time with him, And yet still that night, when the Grinch was stealing Christmas, you saw him face to face. And you're like, Santa? Santa Claus? I thought you were white. I didn't know you were green. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Cindy Lou Who.
You guys seen Jim Carrey's Grinch?
Yeah.
All right, you better. Knock, knock. Who's there? Cindy Lou.
Cindy Lou Who.
Exactly. I'm also the youngest who to get a nose job at 6 years old. To the Ghost of Christmas Present. In the Christmas Carol, you tell Scrooge that you're gonna die when the clock strikes 12. That means you spent the last night of your life with Scrooge. That's how I know you have no friends. Harry, I want to make something very clear. Harry Potter is not a Christmas movie. It's just the only character I've seen Matt Hamlin play in the last 4 years. But I think it would be cool if Harry Potter was a Christmas story. We're just one J.K. Rowling tweet away from Dumbledore being gay and Santa Claus. So, to keep this roast festive, I wrote a holiday parody song for Harry Potter. And if it feels forced, it is. Where are you, Christmas, in Harry Potter? You're there for like half a page. There's just some banquets and a few presents. If you think that's Christmas, then you are lame. Dumbledore should be Santa and also gay. Scrooge, unlike your fellow characters in the 1992 Christmas Carol, you're not technically a Muppet, but you constantly act like there's an arm up your butt. Listen to me. 3 supernatural ghosts came to visit you, and you saw your dead best friend in chains. But the most unbelievable part of your story is that Bob Cratchit would ever want to spend Christmas with you. You denied his family medical care for years. Tiny Tim has a gimp leg because of you. You think one turkey's gonna make up for crippling their son? Who are different than you and takes poor people's money. You're not a miser, you're just Republican. You should have been visited by the ghost of Bernie Sanders. That would have made a difference. And Hans Gruber, you're not a Christmas character either. Who are you, Matt Hamlin? George Bailey, the only reason you talk isn't embarrassing is because one of your ears doesn't work. That's an insensitive deaf joke. And George Bailey, you once lost all of your money to a Potter, and it almost ruined Christmas. Just like Matt Hamlin choosing Harry Potter as his character tonight. George, you taught me a very valuable lesson. The best way to get validation is to tell people, I wish I was dead. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Grinch.
Grinch who?
No, he's a what who doesn't like Christmas. Or Hanukkah. Anti-Semitic. Grinch, you told me if you couldn't find something nice to her, you weren't going to come tonight. So what are you doing here? You end up romantically with Martha May, but we'll never know if she liked you or just thought her only other option was a genetic freak with 2 sets of tonsils. Of all the roasts we've heard tonight, my therapist told me to point out the elephant in the room. Since I'm only 9, I'll express my trauma through song. You're a creeper, Mr. Grinch. Why don't you wear pants? Don't you think it's weird to walk around Whoville in the nude?
Our next
I
guest.
love Matt. I love it.
Our next guest, it's argued if whether he's a Christmas movie or not. It's definitely shown at Christmas time a lot, so there is something to be heard about that. However, I do not think that Harry Potter is a Christmas movie. No, I think it's an American movie. Hear me out. Harry Potter is a story of a boy who was a jock and a bully and ended up being a cop. Just like all cops in America. Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Potter!
So I've heard that there's some doubts as to whether or not I should be considered a Christmas character. We heard some bold words from the Muggle version of Luna Lovegood over here. So, not just me and not just ABC Family's 25 Days of Christmas, we're going to talk about why Harry Potter is a Christmas movie. We have an orphan who, after years of getting nothing for Christmas, goes on a magical journey, gets his first ever present. We've got an old fat man with a beard who breaks into my house after midnight with a gift for me. We have a magical train that comes up to pick up a bunch of children to take them to see an old man with a long white beard and hair who owns a lot of elves as slaves and is remarkably willing to endanger children. That's all I have to say about that. So, there was also some doubts from the Ghost of Christmas Present. I just have to say, like, the Ghost of Christmas Present is by far the creepiest ghost in that movie, and one of them is actually a Dementor. Like he starts out all fun and games, and all of a sudden it's like, surprise, creepy children under my pants. Like, if you were any more of a snake, we'd be having this roast in Parseltown. That was a deep joke. But it's like if Hagrid, instead of keeping spiders in a trunk, kept two little Voldemorts in his robe, like some sort of extra creepy Professor Quirrell. That's all I'm saying. Scrooge over here, I just have to say, I used to respect you as someone who also had stacks and stacks of gold coins and didn't give a single dime to my poor friends. Like, respect, man. Respect. But I do have to say, I have met way more than 4 ghosts, and none of them stopped me from being a thug. So, I mean, your entire story was you got to spend time invisible and unheard, which I do all the time, by the way, and you just found out that nobody liked you. And you were like, wow, maybe I should change. When I wear my invisibility cloak, people are like, man, that Harry Potter, am I right? They are right. I see over here we have George Bailey. The grand accomplishment of his life was preventing a town from being called Pottersville. I'm just saying, sounds like an improvement to me. That movie was so boring that after 15 minutes I yelled Expecto Patronum because I felt my soul getting sucked out of my body. I have on multiple occasions been the victim of the Cruciatus curse, and I would rather do it again than rewatch It's a Wonderful Life. Additionally, if I hadn't lived, all of you would be dead. So I'm just saying, I did more before I was toilet trained than George Bailey did in his entire life. We also have Hans Gruber. I just have to say, I liked Alan Rickman more as Severus Snape, and I hated Severus Snape. That dude wanted to make out with my mum. That's pretty gross. Also, I just have to say, you were kicked out of a radical West German terrorist group for being too lame for them. It's like if you were a Death Eater, and Voldemort's over there hanging out with Wormtail and 16-year-old Draco Malfoy, and he was like, they can stay, but man, you are killing the vibe. You have got to go. You have got to go. Let's see, who else? Who else we have? Looks like we're just to the Grinch himself. Yeah, so, the Grinch, he acts like he's all tough, but he's basically like, if you were in Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and you're like learning how to face a Boggart by using the ridiculous charm to make him look like something silly. It's like the after effect if your worst fear was a moldy pear. That's the Grinch. The Grinch is basically August Filch if you tried to use a polyjuice potion to turn into Oscar the Grouch. Like, the main difference between Oscar the Grouch and the Grinch, in fact, is that Oscar the Grouch has had a girlfriend. Happy Christmas.
Very good. Our next guest comes from a debated Christmas movie. Some say it's a Christmas movie, some say it's not. Now let me clarify. As the OG Christmas story, A Christmas Carol, the beats of A Christmas Story. It takes place at Christmas time. It involves people taking down a corporate empire. It's pretty much that stuff, really. Now, Die Hard takes place at Christmas. It involves our Christmas hero trying to take down a corporate Reagan-era empire. I kind of like Hans Gruber. I think he's a great guy. What's his crime? Taking down the corporate business. I'm kind of a socialist if you're looking at how the Ghost of Christmas Present is. And I know what you guys are thinking. He's a terrorist. But after January 6th, we've kind of redefined what terrorism is. If you're white, it's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Hans Gruber.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking around. I haven't seen this many bombs since Nakatomi Plaza. My original plan for the evening was to hold the audience hostage. The other performers have taken care of that for me. I'm new to comedy, so I will start by trying my hand at a joke. I just flew in on an FBI helicopter full of hostages on my way to free members of the Asian Dawn, and boy, are my arms tired. Keep it going for your host, the Ghost of Christmas Present. During his visit, the Ghost of Christmas Present famously takes Ebenezer Scrooge to a room full of people making fun of him. He did it the easy way today. The reason he knew how to do that was because he does it every time he leaves a room. He's that self-conscious. And every time people are talking trash about him. Oh my God, why did you invite the Ghost of Christmas Present? He's so lame. Did you see him sneak that third turkey? No, not turkey leg, that third entire turkey. I think he brought it from home. And he kept going to the bathroom. I know he was checking in on his ex-girlfriend. He does that, and it's creepy. The Ghost of Christmas Present is the lamest of all Christmas ghosts. Oh, you have the magical ability to see what's happening right now? So does Tiny Tim, and he's smaller than most of your dinners. Next, we have the horrifying, skeletal, emaciated Ghost of Christmas Future. Oh wait, that's Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge, you know it's bad when the McDuck version of you is preferable. Ebenezer Scrooge is a man so infamously grumpy that his very name is synonymous with Christmas time unpleasantness. That's impressive. That would be like every terrorist attack being called pulling a Hans. I'll never forgive Bin Laden for that Hans he pulled. Ebenezer Scrooge is so miserly he makes Jeff Bezos look like an LDS missionary. Side note, what's the difference between Jacob Marley and an LDS missionary? People answer the door for Jacob Marley. Seriously though, Ebenezer Scrooge is the only person who makes me look like a good Christmas party guest. I know I killed dozens of people, but at least I knew it was wrong. I didn't need 3 ghosts to tell me to be nice to a crippled child. Harry Potter is here for some reason. It's probably the same inexplicable reason he was kind of Australian. I don't know why people think that's a Christmas movie. Harry Potter is a Christmas movie the same way that Provo is a hip college town. That's an argument you're allowed to make, but people will just be sad for you. People who think Harry Potter is a Christmas movie are the same people who think disliking the word moist is a personality trait. People who think Harry Potter is a Christmas movie have this great new underground singer you should hear named Taylor Swift. These people need Harry Potter to be a Christmas movie because it's the only book they've ever read. Oh, you guys are watching Christmas movies? I have the perfect one. It's about a magical orphan who experiences winter for a few minutes. There are 8 of them. The only people so obsessed with a single book are the wrong crowd. I was going, never mind. Some people say that I have a resemblance to Harry's Professor Snape. I don't see it. But if I was Professor Snape, I would tell him that I would tell his mother that if I found out what a loser her son turned out to be, I would have given her a Joni Mitchell CD and moved on with my life. No Love Actually fans here. Now moving on to Jorge Bailey. Somebody had to say it. George Bailey, the man who makes Scrooge's realization seem profound. Oh, it would bum everyone out if I killed myself on Christmas Eve? That's crazy. Thank you, God. George Bailey needing a message from an angel to not kill himself is the biggest waste of magical resources since Dumbledore sent Fawkes to save Harry Potter from the basilisk. That's right, I'm not done with Harry Potter. Harry, the Dursleys could have filled the cupboard under the stairs with a box of hydrochloroquine and Microsoft Zunes, and it would have been a better use of space. But back to George Bailey. George Bailey is the richest man in Bedford Falls. Metaphorically, of course. His actual house makes Bob Cratchit look like Ebenezer Scrooge. George Bailey is the most popular man in Bedford Falls. Congratulations. I also know 25 people. George never got to travel or do anything he ever wanted. He never got to adventure or explore. But at the end of the day, he saved a bank from an old man in a wheelchair. And if that's not worth fighting for, then I don't know what is. Speaking of, that man is named Mr. Potter. He's the second easiest Mr. Potter to beat up. George, you know they use that "this is what it would be like if you were never born" thing on everyone. It's scripted. That's heaven's suicide hotline message. If you were actually never born, Mary would have married Sam Wainwright, and he'd be hee-hawing her every night. Oh, hang on, I need my notes. And that's a trick I picked up recently. It didn't go well for me. Next we have Cindy Lou Who from, oh, look at that, The Grinch. You guys know there are more than 4 Christmas movies, right? Oh, I forgot, Harry Potter is here. You guys know there are more than 3 Christmas movies, right? Cindy Lou Who has bigger homeschool energy than the sister wives. Cindy, I apologize, but I've only ever seen the cartoon version, so I only know you as the child who didn't tell anyone that Santa was green, furry, and pantsless. It looks like you haven't gotten much smarter. In fact, I wrote a Dr. Seuss poem for you. Little Cindy Lou was not the brightest who. Makes total sense she'd be at BYU. Now to the guest of honor. The Grinch and I are the 2 biggest villains on this show, which I feel is a bit insulting. I staged a multi-million-dollar heist and he broke into his neighbor's apartment. One is worthy of a classic action film. One is worthy of a police blotter write-up in the Tooele newspaper. He didn't even go through with his plan. He chickened out and found the true meaning of Christmas at the last minute. Give me a break. You don't think I could have sang Dahu Dores to John McClane? No. I committed, and my legs broke into 3 sizes that day. In fact, I'm the only real villain here. The Grinch, Ebenezer Scrooge, they always cop out at the last minute. How lame is that? That would be like if in the last movie, Voldemort started hugging oh wait, that's what happens. Those movies are terrible. And they all cop out just to serve people meat. Roast beast. What's a cooked goose for Bob Cratchit? How lame would Die Hard have been if I had just served John McClane a turducken? And I know I've said some offensive things so far, but this might cross the line, and if you leave, I won't blame you. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk. The 3 words that best describe you are as follows, and I quote, stink, stank, and stunk. I apologize if that was too much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Very good. Our next guest is known from what the? Whoa! What's going on? Can we get those lights back up? We good? I don't. This is not part of the show. Whoa! All right, dancing lights, I guess. What the? What is this music? This was not planned. This was not part of the show. What the? Jeffrey Bezos? Ladies and gentlemen, this was not planned. Jeffrey Bezos! Jeffrey Bezos is here.
Welcome, welcome. It is I, Jeff Bezos. Hello, humans. I know what you're thinking. No, I really do. It's called the algorithm. You're all thinking, what is Jeff Bezos doing with all these fictional characters? Well, people tell me all the time, you're not human. So I thought it'd fit right in. Humans like laughing. They say it's good for the soul, but no laughing in the warehouse! Anyways, we do have jobs opening there. They start at $17 an hour with a $3,000 signing bonus. So if anyone's into that. Everyone tells me how fun our warehouses are too. It's a blast. If you're a Boy Scout, you know what it's like not using a toilet. So, you'll have a fun bag to use. Anyways, let's try humor. Ebenezer Scrooge, look at him. He's cool? No, he is not cool. I think we're very similar. We're rich. We both want to decrease the surplus population. We're both incredibly attractive. Now, at the end of your story, Scrooge, you have a change of heart. And now you're a loving individual who doesn't care about money anymore. Sounds like you lost all of your money because rich people don't have empathy. Here's an example. I could give a free goose to the entire planet, and I won't. Harry Potter. Oh, Harry Potter, he has a magical wand. He's a fun little boy. Don't we love him? Oh, Harry Potter. Oh, Harry Potter. Harry, do you want to see real magic? If I wave my hand, I have Vada Kedavra the entire book industry. When was the last time you went to Borders? And Barnes & Noble, you're coming up soon. I'm sorry if you guys like Barnes & Noble. But it's gone. Cindy Lou Who, OMG. I look at you and I think, what's your purpose? I could really use you in the Amazon warehouse. Because when my workers are at the end of a 10-hour shift and on the brink of suicide, they could really use a fa-hu-do-ri. So to remind them that the corporate oligarchy loves them. It's true. We love them. As long as they continue to work without bathroom breaks. Sorry, it's too real. Hans Gruber, you look like a duck that forgot how to swim. Your plan was to punish corporations for being greedy by stealing their money from them, and like a political Facebook post from your high school friend, it makes no difference. This ship's too big to sink. George Bailey. There you are. Wow. You're okay. I like you. You're fine. Your story, I don't think I've ever seen it. I just know the title. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, my life. And now let's move on to the big boy, that big green fella, the Grinch. You stole Christmas? I am Christmas. Look at every character on stage. They're all available on Amazon. And free delivery on an order of $25 or more. They'll get to you that fast. I mean, what are we doing up here? I'm the king. I mean, what even is the Grinch? You're a green beast that eats glass and breaks into people's homes? So you can learn that they hate you? That's like your whole plan? There's a much better way to do that. Alexa, does this crowd hate the Grinch? Yes. They do hate you. And the other day, I went to space. And I cried because I looked back on the Earth and I realized I had no more worlds to conquer. I'm in your pocket. You have packages coming to your house right now from me. I'm in every country. What am I supposed to do now? I think it's time for me to unshackle myself from this body and ascend into the metaverse. So, goodbye.
Jeffrey Bezos, like all of our lives, wasn't invited, but yet he's there. Thank you, Jeffrey Bezos. Now, on to the planned portion of our show. Our next guest, I'll introduce him in his own language. Ladies and gentlemen, George Bailey.
Take offense to that, young man. I'd say it's good to be here, but George is a little stressed tonight. Got a lot of things going on. I'm extra stressed because I realize that after tonight's proceedings, I'm going to have to carry the rest of the show, aren't I? Especially after Bezos over there, wowing us with his jokes. Anyhow, things have been going a little rough for old George over here. Mary left me. Took the kids. Even took the moon. How do you figure that? George is in a bad way, I tell you. Oh, it is working. All right. They're not just idiots up here. No? Anyhow, Harry Potter's here. He's sitting right beside me. Of course he is. There's a Potter in old town where I come from. He's a fat, disabled guy, sits in a wheelchair, has no use of his legs. And even then, his legs have more. I messed up my joke. Oh, boy. That's a little embarrassing. I'm going to criticize his material, but Accio better material for old George. Well, he puts to bed there. Harry Potter. How's it feel, Harry Potter, being the least interesting character in the books and the movies that you star in? All right, there's another one that didn't work out for old George. Oh, all right, I had some more burns. I'm going to open up the paper. Maybe should have started with that. Now, I don't want to make anyone nervous over here, but we do have a German in our midst. You may have seen him a few sets ago. Now, I know the war was several years ago, but by golly, if me and Harry could take a moment, we'd teach Jerry the meaning of America, if you get my meaning. I know they said, oh, it's Christmas time, we got to bring people together, you know, spirit of holiday and all that, but I just don't like the Germans. What can I say? Said it's insensitive to throw bratwurst at the back of their heads, but I say it's a terrible food anyway, so who cares what happens to it? Gruber's there. It's strange. Hans Gruber died at the end of Die Hard. You might remember that film. And then John McClane went on to fight again in Die Hard 2. Didn't die in that one. And then Die Hard 3, Hans Gruber's brother tries to kill John McClane again. Didn't work out. Never thought Germans would be so bad at killing. It is a dark joke, but I was part of the war, gosh darn you. Let's go back to the burns for a little bit. Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present have a weird tension between the two of them because of what they're going through. And hey, saw Ghost of Christmas Present giving old Scrooge a wedgie backstage, which is all good fun to see a rich guy getting his what for. But Scrooge is my new boss, so I had to put a stop to that. And, wasn't easy getting that job. Had to beat up a small kid called Tiny Tim. It's hard out here in the economy for old George, and Scrooge said, hey, there's this fellow down on Main Street been making a racket about his daddy's working condition. And after I got through with him, that boy will never walk again. I don't care what kind of Christmas miracle you put on that boy, he's crippled for life. All right. A little dark here. Cindy Lou Who is the one person who believes in the Grinch, his goodness of spirit. First time she met him, the Grinch was stealing a Christmas tree. Is this who you want to see? Have the moral authority vested on Cindy Lou, a chick who doesn't even know when she's being robbed? I don't know. Finally, the Grinch, now that I've admitted I'm a criminal, please let me work for you. I need some money, please. Vandalize, I'll burn everything to the ground, I'll beat up little British kids, whatever you want to do. Old George is here. And old George had a worse set than he thought he was gonna, but seems as good a time as any to get off stage. Have a good night. Thank you.
George Bailey, everyone. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for our guest of honor. We've known him through such classics. We've grown up on the books, we've grown up on the animated movie, we grew up on the live action movie, and then for some reason they made another animated movie with Benedict Cumberbatch. Did any of us watch that? I haven't. Why? You're from Canada, you're weird anyways, so. Mr. Grinch, you go through a story in which you are selfish and you take all possessions away from a neighborhood and yet they still thrive, teaching us all that it is not our material possessions, but our pride inside that makes us who we are and that gives us joy in this Christmas season. The Grinch, Jeff Ross, the roast master, always says that we roast the ones that we love, and I certainly stand by that tonight for all of us here. I love you, Grinch, as you have taught us all the true meaning of Christmas, the true joy to be kind to each other, to be cheerful even in our worst moments. Ladies and gentlemen, please, Mr. Grinch.
All right. Let's give it up again for all these characters. They're up here. Great job, everyone, but nice try if you thought that you could hurt my feelings at all. There's literally a hit song roasting me about how awful I am, and it plays every single year. You guys, you've got nothing on Thurl Ravenscroft, the guy who wrote that. I got roasted by a dude named Thurl. Do you realize how embarrassing that is? And there's nothing meaner than that song, all right? The guy said, I have garlic in my soul. Do you realize how specific that is? Right? He said, I have termites in my smile. The thing that I do when I'm supposed to be happy, I'm now self-conscious about. And now I smile, I go, oh no. Instead, thank you. He said, your heart's a dead tomato splotched with moldy purple spots. Your soul is an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish, imaginable, mangled up, entangled up nuts, and no therapist has helped me overcome that yet. So nice try, everybody, but if I could take a page out of Thurl's book, all your jokes stink, stank, stunk. Thank you. Two people clapping, that's right. Harry Potter's here. The boy with daddy issues. Your youngest kid is named Albus Severus Potter. You named him after the professor that groomed you and the professor that abused you, and good luck figuring out which is which. It's super easy to understand why Harry's got daddy issues, right? Because Harry's dad never truly loved his mom. It's a hard truth, because I mean, your mom died, she loved you, so it put a powerful protection spell over you. But when your dad died for your mom, well, Voldemort just kept coming. Kind of feels like Harry's dad's death wasn't so much about protecting his mom as much as it was just a way for him to get out of that marriage. Avada Kedavra, I'll take it. It's a bummer Harry's parents can't be here tonight to see this, but Hans Gruber told me that Harry's godfather should be showing up a little later. When Hans told me that, I asked if he was serious. He said, I'm dead serious. For those unfamiliar with Harry, you know, he defeats Tom Marvolo Riddle, who grew up to be evil. Not surprising when you realize that his name is an anagram of I am Lord Voldemort. And then Harry James Potter later grew up to be a wizard cop, which is also not surprising when you realize his name is an anagram of Harm Protesters J. Harry's book book was, of course, written by the notorious transphobe J.K. Rowling. Your author sure hates trans people a lot, considering you spend most of your books in girls' bathrooms. Kind of weird. But you know, it's just like George here always says. Every time a bell rings, J.K. sends out a tweet that almost ruins a part of the Harry Potter franchise. But I suppose, what were we supposed to expect from a woman who created a whole Hogwarts house of wizard Nazis, and the word she used to describe them was ambitious. Hans agrees. It is a good book series, though. In fact, I wanted to congratulate Harry tonight because just recently, don't know if you guys heard this, but every Harry Potter book just recently surpassed the Bible on its high average star rating on Goodreads. So good job, Harry. Way to not only ruin Jesus' birthday, but also steal his nickname, the boy who lived. All right, that's a Salt Lake joke. I get it. That's fine. Hans Gruber? People say that Germans don't understand humor, and thanks to that set, I now understand why. Hans Gruber from Die Hard, a movie so good that the most interesting thing about it is the middle-aged men yelling at teens online, "It is a Christmas movie! It is!" Hans dies at the end of the Die Hard film, of course, by falling to his death, a moment that stuck with him so much it's the same way he killed Dumbledore. Is what it was. Hans Gruber, who, I don't know if people know this, Hans Gruber played by the actor Alan Rickman, right? You know, I didn't realize Alan Rickman was a method actor until 2017 when he also chose to die hard. Okay, I'm the Grinch! Right? I'm the Grinch! Okay, I'm sorry, that was maybe a little too mean, so I knew it would be, so I wanted to build bridges. I like Alan Rickman. We have a lot in common. For instance, my heart grew 3 sizes too large, just like his cancer did. I'm the Grinch! Jeffrey Bezos showed up. I didn't know that was going to happen. That was so exciting. I'm so glad he showed up because we couldn't afford Elon Musk. That was nice. Just back from space, hoping he would move there next time. That's great. My old pal, of course, child star Cindy Lou Who is right here. Give it up for Cindy Lou Who. Cindy Lou Who, like so many child stars before, is now clearly addicted to cocaine. I mean, Christmas spirit's just not hitting the same way it used to be. You gotta step it up, I understand. Cindy is, of course, from Whoville, a town that is an incestuous cult. Right? I mean, come on, everybody's got the same last name, the same weird traditions, and the same birth defect of a nose. I think we know what's going on there. The Who's do have weird diseases, at least I'm pretty sure of it, because I was just fine social distancing in my cave. Then I show up one night and suddenly my heart grows 3 sizes too large. Get a vaccine, people. George Bailey, of course, from It's a Wonderful Life. Sorry to hear about your stroke, George, or do you just always talk like that? Is that just... You know, a lot of people think that the movie's called It's a Wonderful Life because he discovers that he has a wonderful life, but it's actually called It's a Wonderful Life because George is dead through most of it. What do you want, Mary? Do you want the new... No, she wants a new husband, George. That's what she wants, and she got it. The Ghost, it's a fictional character. The Ghost of Christmas Present, of course, is hosting. Ghost of Christmas Present, great guy. I personally prefer his cousin, the Ghost of Christmas Future, or as Harry likes to call him, the Feliz Navidementor. Or as Hans calls him, one of my Death Eater pals, is what he says. It's great to see Ghost of Christmas Present here, of course. It's nice to finally see representation for a character who's so riddled with dementia. And, okay, no, I'll back off. Yeah, I'll skip that next joke. And I'll try this one. Just a reminder that the show does end at 9 o'clock, of course. I'm not saying that because I don't think you'll remember. I'm just saying that because you are scheduled to die promptly at 9:15. Scrooge! Oh my gosh, Scrooge. Ebenezer, Neezy, as we call him, all his Neezus, if you will. I'm a big fan of Scrooge, big fan, been a fan for a long time. He's basically me, but with a weird craving for cooked goose for some reason. He's me without the appeal of having a pet dog, and I love this guy. In fact, he's the only person more stingy than Scrooge up here is Harry Potter, the boy who inherited tons of money but chose not to share any of it with the destitute Weasleys. Mrs. Weasley knitted you a sweater every year, and all you did was wreck her car in exchange and never replace it. Scrooge is an idiot. Just want to throw that out here. Scrooge is an idiot. It took you 4 ghosts to learn your lesson? Like, you saw your dead business partner, you traveled back in time, then traveled forward in time twice before you were like, maybe there's something wrong here. And it was. And all I had to do was hear all the Who's down in Whoville sing a song to change my mind. But you got haunted 4 times. I mean, heaven help us if Scrooge turns out to be anti-vax. I mean, we're all going to send a couple ghosts your way, and you're going to be like, actually, I've done some independent seances myself. All my ghosts say the vaccine's bad news. Thank you so much, everybody. The great.
Did you guys have a fun time tonight? Guys, I want to thank all our house staff. Please give it up for the house staff, Ryan, our photographer tonight. Let's go ahead and say goodbye to our wonderful actors. Joe Holt as Ebenezer Scrooge. Shannon Combs as Cindy Lou Who. Matt Hamlin as Harry Potter. Brian Higgins as Hans Gruber. Andres Harris, George Bailey. The very funny Adam Brown as the Grinch. I'm Tanner Rolfe. I put the Ghost of Christmas Present. Thank you guys and have a good night. I just broke the mic stand. Thank you.